Yes, myself is Srinivas, having 16 plus years experience. I started my career as Unix administrator. I worked on SCO Unix, Solaris, Linux, HP Unix, IBM AX. I was into storage, Veritas Volume Manager, Veritas Cluster, Veritas Net Backup, and storage technologies like SAN, NAS. Now I'm into the cloud, AWS DevOps, Azure DevOps. In our environment, we have both AWS and Azure. So today we talk about what is the AWS, what is cloud first of all. The topics we are going to cover in AWS, we have the certifications. Those are AWS Professional and AWS Solution Architect. We will cover both the papers in your course content. So while taking the classes, I'll write everything in the Paint. I'm going to give the questions answers for certification and interview point of view as well. With that notes, you can clear your certification, you can crack your interview. I'm going to provide you training and job support or work support. Once you complete the training, we can go with 3 to 4 plus years experience. You can go as a fresher or you can go with experience. Right. Today we'll talk about what are the course contents, what are the topics which I'm going to cover in the cloud. Basically, cloud nothing but accessing the resources over the internet. Example for this, Google Drive, gmail.com, yahoo.com. Without knowing where the mail server, gmail.com is a mail server, Yahoo, all these are mail server. Without knowing where the mail server, we are able to access gmail.com, yahoo.com. We don't know the physical location of the server. To access gmail.com or yahoo.com, any mail server, what I required, we need internet connection. Any services you want to access from cloud, we need internet. Google Drive. Google Drive is a file server. Google Drive is a file server. What are the file servers we have? FTP, File Transfer Protocol, NFS, Network File System, Samba, all these are file servers. What is the use of file server? We can upload the files, we can download the files. Google Drive, in Google Drive we have upload option, download option. We can upload the files or folders, we can download the files or folders. But you want to access that Google Drive, we need internet. We are uploading the resume to the monitor.com, naukri.com, where Monitor, Naukri is a file server. We have upload and download. We need internet. That is called cloud. Any resources or services you want to access, we need internet connection. So there are two types of clouds, private cloud and public cloud. Private cloud is owned by private cloud is owned by their own organizations. IBM, Wipro, Cognizant, they have their own private cloud. Everything is maintained by their own organization. We don't require internet. To access private cloud, the services or resources in private cloud, we don't require internet connection. And public cloud. Public cloud is maintained by third party. AWS, Azure, GCP, Rackspace. There are so many public clouds where we don't require, we require internet. Without internet, you cannot access public cloud. Whatever the infrastructure we have in the private cloud, the same kind of infrastructure in the public cloud. But only difference is Private cloud owned by their own organization. They have servers physical access, servers, storages, switches, routers, all the hardware infrastructure. We have physical access in the private cloud, whereas in public, we don't have physical access of any infrastructure. Everything is maintained by the cloud vendor. Required internet connection. Hybrid cloud. The combination of private and public, we call it as hybrid cloud. Every company, every bank, they have their own private cloud and they have their own public cloud. They're applying for the home loan or car loan. You have to provide some information, some piece of information, like your Aadhaar card. Your Aadhaar card, your home address, how much loan is sanctioned. This is called private. They won't expose this information in the public. PAN card, Aadhaar card, all these are maintained in the private cloud. Public, what information they keep in the public? What is EMI tenure? What is rate of interest? This information will be in the public. So every user will have one private information and public information. That's why every company they maintain their own private and public. Public cloud is very expensive. Compared with private, public cloud is very expensive. So the combination of private and public, we call it as hybrid cloud. The combination of private and public, call it as hybrid cloud. So these classes only weekends, which is going to be 8 to 9 weekends, 8 to 10 weekends. Every weekend we'll have a 4 to 5 hours class. Except this demo this weekend. Next weekend onwards, we have a classes 4 to 5 hours every weekend, Saturday and Sundays. I hope everyone is interested for only weekends, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what are topics we are going to cover? Later we'll discuss about what is private, what is public, what is hybrid, all this stuff later. Once we start AWS. And also we discuss about this comes under cloud deployment models. Which are called cloud deployment models, private, public, hybrid. This comes under cloud deployment models. Then we'll talk about service deployment models. Those are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Any cloud, AWS cloud, Azure cloud, GCP, any cloud, we have cloud deployment models and service deployment models, where we are going to use infrastructure as a service, where we use platform as a service, where we use software as a service. These theoretical concepts we'll discuss in tomorrow class. Then we'll start about EC2. What is EC2 stands? Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud. Basically, this is the server in AWS. Server in AWS. Suppose you want to deploy our application. The types of application we'll discuss later, like it is a standalone application, web application, mobile application. If at all you want to deploy any application, we need a server. This server we call compute capacity. The meaning of compute capacity, the RAM and processor. RAM and processor, we call it as compute capacity. My laptop compute capacity is 16 GB RAM, 1 CPU. Laptops we cannot be called a server. Laptops are workstations. Why? Because we'll have only one processor. Though you might be having 32 GB RAM, but processor only one. It cannot be called server. Server means more than one processor. So laptop is a client, laptop is a workstation. The compute capacity means what? The combination of RAM and processor. So I can purchase the server with 32 GB RAM or 64 GB RAM with compute capacity of 64 GB RAM and 4 CPUs or 8 CPUs. This is called server. But this server, it costs 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs. I don't have that much of budget where I can invest 20 lakhs for this server. Only one server is not enough. To deploy our application, we require more than one server, minimum 2 servers. Minimum 2 servers to deploy our application. So that if one server goes down, one server goes down also, the request will send to the another server. That is called downtime. No downtime. If you have only one server and deploy my application, one physical server, physical box, if the service goes down, no one can access my application. That is called downtime. Downtime to the application, downtime to the end user. The real time, the applications are deployed more than one server. So I need to purchase to minimum 2 servers. This server costs 20 lakhs. I have to invest 40 lakhs. I don't have that much of budget. Then I can go for rental basis. Every month I need to pay 15 to 20,000 rent. 20,000 rent, more than 20,000. Instead of that, I can take the server from AWS cloud. That is called EC2. EC2 is nothing but a service. Elastic Compute Cloud. It's a service. In that service, we have a instance. Instance, nothing but a server. Instances are nothing but server. Here, click on launch instance. Click on launch instance. Means launch server. Platform as a service. What is platform as a service? Before that, infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Nothing but server. You can see the types of servers we have. This is called infrastructure. Infrastructure means what? Not only servers, storages, switches, routers. All this comes under infrastructure. They are going to provide all the infrastructure to you, whichever you want. What kind of compute capacity? The entire AWS course will discuss about T2.micro, one of the type of server or one of the type of instance, which having one CPU, 1 GB RAM. One CPU, 1 GB RAM cannot be called a server. It's a laptop. It's a workstation. It's a laptop in AWS, which is free tier. No charges applicable. But the real time, 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, not sufficient for that. So we require more than one CPU. We can go for server. This is called higher-end server. 128 CPUs, 256 GB RAM. You can see the cost of the server per hour. They are going to charge the server in hourly basis. Two CPUs, 4 GB RAM. All these are higher-end server with compute capacity 96 CPUs, 192 GB RAM. There are two types of instances. One is compute instance. The other one is memory compute optimized. The other one is memory optimized. They are the types of instances. Compute optimized means what? More number of CPUs. Less memory, more number of CPUs. That is called compute optimized. (96) CPUs, 190 GB RAM. This is called memory optimized. Eight CPUs, 30 GB RAM, also memory optimized. 96 CPU, 384 GB RAM, also memory optimized. We'll see 96 CPUs, all these are 128 CPUs. 128 CPUs. This is called compute optimized. We'll have more number of CPUs. What purpose will go for compute optimized? To deploy a Java application, Java kind of application, we require more number of CPUs. Less memory, more number of CPUs. That is called compute optimized. To deploy a database, Oracle database, Hadoop database, MySQL, MongoDB, Redshift database, it required more memory. There is a database called Redshift database by AWS. If I install this Redshift database, it doesn't require storage, doesn't require a hard disk. Database is going to install in a memory only. So we require more memory. Here are the types of servers or instances available in AWS. I can take the servers on rental basis. We can take the server from AWS on rental basis. What is the difference between taking the server from any vendor on rental basis or taking the server from AWS? The difference is, if I take the server from any vendor on rental basis, whether I may use or not, I need to pay every month 20,000, 30,000, whatever it may be. Whether you're using or not, you need to pay every month. But whereas, if I take the server from AWS on rental basis, if I take the server for 1 month, but I use the server, I consume my server only for 10 hours, we are going to pay only for 10 hours. We are not going to pay for entire month. This is called pay as you go model. What is pay as you go model? How much you are consuming, you pay only for that, like electricity bill, water bill, electricity bill, your SIM card, postpaid. So how much you are using, you are paying only for that. Even though we've taken this for server for 1 month, but I'm not going to pay for 1 month because I consumed only for 10 hours. I'm going to pay only for 10 hours. This is called pay as you go model. This is one of the advantage in cloud. And the types of EC2, we have on-demand instances, spot instance, on-demand instance, reserved instance, spot instances, and reserved instances. They are the types of instances available in AWS. What is on-demand? What is reserved? What is spot? What is reserved? We'll discuss. Dedicated. Dedicated instance. All these types we'll discuss once we start AWS EC2 topic. Here are the types of instances available in EC2. After that, we are going to start. Next topic is ELB. ELB stands Elastic Block Storage. Elastic Block Storage. There are two types of storages. Those are, one is block storage, the other one is file storage. Block storage and file storage. The difference is, when you install the operating system in your hard disk, that comes under block storage. In block storage, we can install the OS, we can install the database. Database you want to install, we need a block storage. We can't install in a file storage. Operating system requires a block storage. Your hard disk comes under block storage. File storages. File storages where we can store the data, where we can store the files and folders. Example for this, Google Drive. Google Drive, the best example for file storage. The difference between block storage and file storage, block storage, we need to format it. Without formatting, the block storage we cannot use. For example, after installation of operating system Windows, you have a free space. From that free space, you create the drive. After creating the drive, we need to format it. Without format the drive cannot be used. The formatting is required for installation of operating system or database. That is called block storage. In Windows, the default file system format is NTFS. In Windows, the default file system format is NTFS. Linux, the default file system format is EST3, EST4, etc. All these are types of file system format. Format it, then install the OS or database. Whereas file storage, we don't need to format it. If I create the account in Gmail, they're going to give 15 GB storage. That 15 GB storage, what they're going to provide, that 15 GB storage, we are not formatting. I can directly store my data, personal data, in the Google Drive without formatting. That is called file storage. So this is the difference between block storage and file storage. Another difference is block storage has limitation. In your drive, Windows, you cannot create the drive more than 16 terabyte. The drive size cannot be more than 16 terabyte. Even Linux also, a partition cannot be more than 16 terabyte. Here we call EBS volumes. Block storage comes under EBS volume. Not ELB, EBS. Elastic block storage. So this size cannot be more than 16 terabyte. But you take Amazon, Flipkart. In Amazon or Flipkart enterprise application, there are more than 1 crore companies. They are uploading their pictures. Every image, every picture has minimum 3 images, 3 to 4 images. Then 16 terabytes not at all possible. We need more than terabytes, petabytes of volume. Then we go for file storage. Google Drive, they're going to allocate only 15 GB. But if you want, you can extend it. But there is not a free. So here, the file storage are AWS, we call S3 bucket. Simple storage service. And EFS, Elastic File System. S3, EFS, that comes under file storage. In S3, we can store unlimited data. By default, when you create the S3 bucket, by default, they're going to give you 5 TB, which is free. 5 TB is free. But if you want, you can create more than 5 TB, but they're going to charge maximum, no limit. It is unlimited storage. EFS also unlimited storage. But a lot of difference between S3 and EFS. We'll see later. So if Flipkart, Amazon, all these are enterprise applications they're using in the backend, they're not using EBS volume. In the backend, they're using S3 bucket or EFS. Not EFS, they're going to use S3 bucket. Why S3, why not EFS? We'll see later. This is about EBS volume. Then we talk about VPC. VPC stands Virtual Private Cloud. In every company, there is a firewall team. Those are CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Admin, CCNP. Their job is to set up the firewall, to configure firewall. But everything is a manual, no automation. The same in AWS, we call it as VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. Why? AWS is very secured. What is the guarantee if I keep my personal data in AWS cloud? What is the guarantee that no one steal my data? What is the guarantee that hacker can't able to access my data? That guarantee they are going to provide, that is called VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So we have so many firewalls. One is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. Virtual Private Cloud. We have a security group. And we have NACL. There are multiple firewalls. If any hacker trying to access my data, where my data is deployed on EC2, EC2 is nothing but a server. If I deploy my data or my application on this EC2 server, if any hacker trying to hack my data, first of all, you need to cross VPC. You need to cross VPC. VPC is allowed. Then you need to cross NACL. NACL. NACL also allowed. Then you need to cross security group. These are multiple firewalls. Then only they're able to access my EC2, or they can access my data which is deployed in my EC2 machine. All this comes under firewalls. What are the differences between VPC, NACL, security group? We have a separate topic, they will discuss. Then we'll talk about IAM, Identity Access Management. In Windows or Linux, we have user administration. If you are Linux administrator, Windows administrator, there's a role called user and group administration. What is this user and group administration? Your job is you have to create the groups. Under the group, you have to create the users. This is the job of Linux admin, system admin. System admin means Windows or Linux admin. Suppose I gave you my laptop to you and copy the data from my laptop to pen drive or pen drive to my laptop. I gave you pen drive and laptop both. But can you copy? No. We require authentication, credentials, login name and password. I gave you my ATM card to draw the amount. You can't draw the amount because I didn't tell my PIN number. I gave you mobile to call to the friend. I gave you my mobile, but I didn't give in the password. Mobile also we can get the password. Any resources you want to access, we need a authentication, login name and password. Without authentication, you cannot access any resources. That is called IAM. So you want to log into this AWS console, we require authentication. There are two types of authentication. Users we have, one is root. Root is the administrator. When you create the account in AWS, that account is free for 1 year. That account is free for 1 year. You are eligible to log in directly as a root. Why? Because while creating the account, we need to give your credentials like your PAN card, bank details, not bank details, PAN card, your mobile number, all this. So that is called root account. Root account means what? We provided all your personal details. Your address, PAN card, mobile number, your address, home address, office address, everything you have to provide. Then only you'll be able to log in as a root. But as a root user, if you create any other user, I logged as a root user, I'm admin. After that, if I create any other user, just become IAM user. IAM user, not root user. IAM users are normal user. Tomorrow, when you join as a AWS admin, AWS Cloud, you are not root user. One server will have only one root account. One account, one AWS will have only one root account. In your company, there are more than 100 cloud admins. All the 100 cloud admins are not root accounts. Root is only one. All the remaining cloud admins are IAM user. They don't have root access. When you're creating IAM user, you don't require to provide your PAN card, mobile number, your personal address. You don't require to create IAM user. That is difference between root and IAM user. So who can get this IAM user as a root user? For example, here we have here I'm able to launch EC2 instance. So this is called platform. This is called infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Servers, storages, switches, routers, everything is provided by AWS. Next we have platform. Platform as a service. Platform means what? Operating system. I have a server. I purchase new brand server with iron server, 16 GB RAM or 32 GB RAM, 4 CPUs, 8 CPUs. I purchase new brand server. Can I deploy my application? I cannot. I need platform. The platform nothing but operating system. What platform you required? Do you want to install Amazon Linux or Mac OS? Mac OS also one of the Linux, Ubuntu Linux, or do you want to install Windows or Red Hat? You have to choose the platform. That is called platform as a service. Select any platform. Key pair is authentication. You have to create a key pair. Network settings, all this automatically create. Just click on launch instance. The main advantage of AWS, not only AWS, any cloud to automate your infrastructure. To automate your infrastructure. What infrastructure we can automate? You don't need to purchase the server. You don't need to install operating system. You don't need to install the software. Everything is ready made. My server is ready within a seconds. Running. Then how do you connect? Click on this. Click on connect. Copy this SSH. Go to Windows command prompt. Paste that command here. Now we connected to the Linux server. How do you check it? Run uname-s. It's a Linux. The platform is ready. Platform means operating system is ready. Ready made. To install operating system, we need infrastructure. That is also ready made. So that is called platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. In order to connect to the server, I need IP address. Did I configure IP address for this server? No. The IP automatically configured. You can go to this instance. Go to networking. You can see there are two IP addresses, public IP, private IP. one instance want to communicate with other instance in AWS cloud. There are two or more instances here, AWS cloud. All these instances want to communicate each other. They need private IP. With this private IP, one instance will be able to communicate with other instance. What is this public IP? If at all you want to access this server from internet, just now I connected from Windows to Linux server. Where this server is AWS. AWS means internet. What I required? Public IP. To configure public IP, private IP, for private IP, I need a switches. Switches used to configure to communicate the servers in a private network. We're going to use the device that is called switch. To access the servers from internet, I need a router. Did I configure router? Can I see the where the router is? Can I see the where the switch is? No. Everything is automation. Basically, in fact, you want to learn AWS cloud. The prerequisite is you need to have knowledge on operating system, either Windows or Linux. Need to knowledge on networking. What is IP addressing? What is subnetting? What is class A? What is class B? What is class C? And what is router? What is switch? Where we use router? Where we use switches? Comes under networking. And we need to have knowledge on database. Oracle database, SAP database, not SAP, MySQL database, MS SQL database, any database. You need to have knowledge on storage, SAN storage, NAS storage, shared storage, all this comes under storage. You need to have a knowledge on monitoring or backup, how to take the waves backup, how to take the database backup, backup admin, there's Java backup admin, and we need to have knowledge on monitoring. So in the earlier days, when the cloud introduced year 2009, 2010, over having this infrastructure background, networking background, database background, storage background, backup background, monitoring, they used to work on AWS. To learn AWS cloud, any cloud, Azure or AWS, you need to have knowledge on all these technologies. Instead of learning all these technologies, learn only one technology that is called cloud. In cloud, we'll discuss about how to install operating system, not required, automation. Operating system already automatically installed, no manual installation. Networking, did I configure IP address manually? No. Automation. Database also will discuss automation. You don't need to have a knowledge on database, how to install the database, how to configure database. You don't require knowledge on storage, SAN or NAS, how to configure, backup, monitoring, everything we'll discuss in AWS. Everything is automation. So we can automate your platform, we can automate your software as a service, we can automate your infrastructure as a service. So because I logged as a root account, I'm able to launch one EC2 instance. Because I'm a root, I can configure all the resources here. Right? So I'm a root. Because of I'm a root, I can do any stuff in AWS. But tomorrow when you join as a cloud admin, you are not root account. You don't have a root password. They're going to create one user called IAM user. So click on IAM user. It's very simple. Everything is graphical mode. Click on users. As of now, no user, create a user. Just username. Click on next. Take default all. Click on next. Click on create user. That's it. User is created. But I didn't create the password. For that, click on this user. Here we have security credentials. Enable console access. Auto-generated password, custom password. Click on custom password. You can create any password as you wish. Just create. This is very simple. Now, how to log into this is IAM user. This is the console. Copy this HTTPS. Open the browser. Paste it. So when you joined as a cloud admin, all your IAM user. We don't have root access. Your login name is student and password. Click on sign. You just log in as a user. You have a console, AWS console. You cannot launch, you cannot create EC2 instance. You cannot create any resources in AWS. Just log in as a user. When you click on instance, nothing but server. You see, you are not authorized. Why? You are the IAM user. That is difference between root and IAM user. Then I need to give the permissions to this user, that is called policy. After creating IAM user, we need to create the policies. Policy is nothing but permission. Or we need to create the roles and policies. So that they can access, they can create any resources in AWS. Then we talk about Route 53. Route 53 is nothing but your DNS. Linux we call DNS, domain naming service. The domain naming service in AWS we call it as Route 53. For example, one system want to communicate with other system that need IP address. We need IP address. Without IP address, we cannot communicate. Let us take, for example, 192.168.0.1 is the IP address of the system. IP address not to communicate local system. IP address always to communicate the remote system. You want to communicate, I want to communicate with you people, I need your mobile number. You want to communicate with me, you need my mobile number. Like mobile number, system required IP address. Mobile number, why you are taking SIM card with mobile number not to communicate yourself. Mobile numbers to communicate others. Or others want to communicate with you, they need your mobile number. IP address, same IP address not to communicate local system. IP address is always to communicate the remote system. Now I want to access gmail.com, where gmail.com is on internet. I need IP address of gmail.com. What is that? 45.23.89.120 is the IP address of gmail.com. You want yahoo.com, we need IP address of yahoo.com like 87.45.126.9 IP address of yahoo.com. like Facebook. Whatever applications you are accessing from internet, we need IP address. But can I remember all these IP addresses throughout the internet? It's not at all possible. That's why we'll go for DNS. DNS for name resolution. Name resolution means what? IP address to host names. When I give the IP address, they'll give the host name or host name to IP address. Host name to IP address. If I give the host name, they'll give the IP address. You want to know the IP address of gmail.com, go to command prompt, Windows command prompt or Linux, whatever it may be. It disconnected. I want to know the IP address of gmail.com, ping gmail.com. What is it? 142.250.183.69. Which server giving the IP address to you for gmail.com? That is called DNS server. Because of DNS server, without knowing the IP address, I'm able to access server with a domain name or a host name. So this is called name resolution. That is called Route 53 in AWS. Then we talk about load balancer. What is this load balancer? I deploy my application on only one physical box on one physical server. Make sure that a server should be available 24/7. 24/7, that is called no downtime. But there is no guarantee that your server available for 24 hours. So basically, here we have two concepts. One is called availability and high availability. What is difference between availability and high availability? If one physical box, if I deploy my application on one physical server, one physical box, it is only availability. It is not high availability. Sometimes maybe your network is down. Sometimes the operating system is failed or something hardware problem. Your application won't be available to the customers. That is called availability. I can't give the high availability. For high availability, your application need to be deployed on more than one server. Deploy application on more than one server. So your application deployed more than one server. In front of the server, you have to configure load balancer. Load balancer also one server. So in front of this, we are going to configure or add load balancer. We call it as LB, elastic load balancer. ELB stands elastic load balancer. So that all my customers, they're going to hit load balancer. They can't directly hit my server. All my customers, they're going to hit my load balancer. The load balancer distribute the load. The job of load balancer distribute the load to these servers. Here example only 2, but real time there are more than 2, more than 5, more than 10. Depends upon the traffic. If this server not responding, the request sent to this server also not responding, is going to send to another server. So there is no company or there is no application database in the real time without this load balancer. If you go to Netflix, they're using AWS cloud. Netflix architecture. So this is called load balancer. Everyone has to first connect to the load balancer. This load balancer distributes the load. This is also one of the load balancer. So every company without load balancer, we never deploy our application. What purpose load balancer? For high availability. What is the meaning of high availability? Even one server goes down also, no downtime to your application. So to give the high availability for customers, your application will deploy more than one server. An application deploy more than one server, we need to configure load balancer to distribute the load. Then we are going to talk about auto scaling. What is auto scaling? Scale up and scale down. Scale up and scale down. There are two types of scaling. We have vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Assume that today I launch one server, the server compute capacity is 32 GB RAM and 4 CPUs. My server compute capacity is 32 GB RAM and 4 CPUs. After 6 months or 1 year, because of huge network traffic, because of more number of customers, this compute capacity is not sufficient to run my application. My application is not performing well because of lack of compute capacity, because of lack of CPUs, because of lack of memory. Then what is vertical scaling? Without any downtime to your application, without any downtime to the customer, I can increase my memory, I can increase my CPUs without any downtime. That is called vertical scaling. We can scale up, increase the hardware, we can scale down, decrease the hardware. Without any downtime. Horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling, here we have scale in and scale out. We have scale in and scale out. Assume that initially my application deployed only on 2 physical servers. It's running well for high availability. After 6 months or 1 year, these 2 physical servers are not sufficient to handle my customer request. Initially, when I started my business, I have only 1,000 customers. After 6 months, my customers are increased 3,000, 4,000. These 2 servers can't able to manage 4,000 or 5,000 requests. Then, in general, I need to purchase one more server, install operating system, database, application, everything, and add this to the load balancer. Again, after 6 months, these 3 servers are not also, these 3 servers also not sufficient. Add one more server manually. We need to add the servers manually whenever the customers are increased, network traffic. If I configure auto scaling, there is no need of manual adding the servers. Whenever the traffic increase, automatically scale out new service. Automatically scale out the new service. When the traffic decrease, automatically scale in. Scale out, scaling will be done automatically based on the network traffic. Auto scaling and load balancer, these two are very, very important concepts in AWS. If you're going with 3 plus, 4 plus, 5 plus years experience, definitely they'll ask about what is the concept of auto scaling and load balancer. Then we will discuss about EFS, Elastic File System, SNS, CloudWatch, Lambda function, EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service. All these are, so nearly we are going to discuss about 20 services in AWS. Which is going to be 8 to 10 weeks, 10 weekends. This weekend only demo on AWS. Next weekend we'll be having Linux. Linux basics are mandatory. Next weekend we'll be having Linux fundamentals, Linux basics. So we require 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Next weekend we'll complete the Linux fundamentals, then we'll start the AWS. So only AWS are required 8 weekends. Any questions? Am I clear?
Yeah, is Linux is needed for AWS?
Only basics, not admin.
Okay, okay.
If you have Linux administration knowledge, is a added advantage. Linux admin, whatever services we have, Linux admin, same services we have AWS. Only difference is Linux admin, everything is command line. Here everything is graphical. It's not a mandatory. If you have a knowledge, it's an added advantage.
Okay.
But this course designed only for AWS, not for Linux admin. But Linux basics are mandatory.
Yeah, got it.
Any other questions? Okay, guys, join tomorrow, same time.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.